Hey guys, today in this video, alright guys, let's be honest, last night Pimblett looked helpless. Now when the UFC goes out of their way to promote you, and you fail, well, you better expect that the fans are going to be completely ruthless. The judge's decision? That's pretty controversial. Now with Paddy looking absolutely helpless, such a verdict looked like a real mockery. The scandalous Brit miraculously defeated his opponent and then began to rejoice and ask for a bonus for the fight of the night. But he's been receiving a lot of criticism, so what's going on here? Was this an outright robbery, or did Pimblett actually win? We're going to talk about that. So what do people think? And we're also going to discuss the fight in detail and what Pimblett's biggest problem is. But before we launch into the video, I want to ask you guys to help support our channel with likes and subscriptions, as we have very little left to reach 40,000 subscribers, so thank you in advance. Pimblett went 3 hard rounds with the veteran Jared Gordon in a fight that showcased a lot of his fighting spirit, but more noticeably the many holes in his game. Now Gordon is a pretty decent fighter, but after 3 rounds it seemed pretty clear that he had also shown himself to be the better fighter between him and Pimblett. But in one of the most shocking moments of the year so far, the judges, for some reason, scored the fight for Pimblett, going against the vast majority of fans and even the media members who had all scored it for Gordon. Now the word robbery gets thrown around far too much, but this one, well, it was pretty bad. Pimblett is a marketable star, and though most people aren't convinced that he's ever going to reach the top 5 within a stacked lightweight division, he certainly does have some strengths to his game. But the problem in there with Jared Gordon was that he couldn't get most of his tools to work for him. Sure, he landed a few good shots and his leg kicks in general were quite good, but once again, Paddy the Baddy's lack of solid boxing defense left him open to many shots from his opponent. Gordon's left hook in particular couldn't miss in that opening round. And as the commentators pointed out, it's not like Jared Gordon is a natural power puncher. Because if he was, do you really think that Pimblett's chin would have held up? Now Gordon felt that there was no confidence in Paddy's hands at all, and he seized the opportunity and began to calmly find holes in his defense. And by the end of the round, the fight began to resemble more of a street fight with some flashy exchanges. In the second round, the scenario didn't really change. Gordon did a great job in the stand-up. Pimblett was forced to then run away. But Pimblett did have a moment as he almost strangled his opponent. Jared was able to stand up though, and there was a nasty cut on his head. The fighters then returned to the stand-up position, where it was the American who felt more comfortable yet again. And at the end of the second round, it turned out to be pretty good, as rivals began to exchange slaps in the face up to a poke in the eye from Pimblett. Now in the third round, really almost nothing changed. Gordon was in complete control of the situation again, and he looked more confident. By the middle of the round, the audience even got bored. Jared pinned the Brit to the cage and then showered him with punches. So the new Conor has never been beaten by anyone, but at the end of that round, they were both exhausted, and fans of the Brit were not expecting this fight to go the way that it did at all. So now it's pretty easy to see why the UFC never even considered setting up a fight between him and Ilia Topuria, who also featured on UFC 282. But anything can happen inside the octagon, but in reality, if Topuria was locked into the cage with Pimblett, the end result would probably have been pretty nasty. So yeah, it's pretty clear that Paddy's not going to break into that top 15 anytime soon. His 4-0 record in the UFC isn't bad, and he has shown himself to be a pretty good solid fighter with the right opponent. But the worst fears of his fan base have been pretty comprehensively realized in this latest fight. Now, it wasn't a one-sided beatdown or anything, but Pimblett was in a highly competitive 3-round fight with another mid-level fighter who wouldn't be counted inside the top 20 or even the top 25 in the division. And after a performance like that, well, it's now obvious that he has far too many shortcomings in his game to succeed at the top level. Or at the very least, it's going to take some incredibly vast improvement for him to have the type of skill set needed to challenge the best of the best. But the real problem is that he screams that he is the new Conor McGregor. So could you imagine what Conor would do with him? Or maybe even someone like Mateusz Gamrot, Arman Tsarukyan, or even Renato Moicano. Could you imagine what they would do to Paddy Pimblett? And those guys are not even in the top 5. Now a lot of fans are going to be quick to call Paddy a hype job, a fighter that the UFC pushed way too hard considering his actual capabilities. But hey, that's just the fight game, folks.
I've never really seen the fans change on anyone faster online than I saw with Paddy Pimblett after the Ariel Helwani thing. Paddy Pimblett's video on my YouTube generally would generate thousands and thousands of views. It didn't do very well because it was fresh off the back of him and the Ariel Helwani thing starting. But inside the arena, it did not seem to affect the reception that Paddy Pimblett got when he hit the curtain. People started going crazy with the expectation of this kid to hit the curtain. But again, online, never in my life have I seen the comments and all these things turn faster than it did on Paddy Pimblett in that fight.
Pimblett is still a damn good fighter and a worthy member of the UFC's lightweight division. But the time has come to readjust our expectations about where his career is going. Now, there's nothing wrong with bringing attention to a local fight card, and Pimblett's colorful personality is going to be enough to keep his name in the headlines, win, lose, or draw. And he has a pretty huge social media following, and his ongoing deal with Barstool Sports isn't going anywhere. So Paddy is a fan favorite, and his position in the sport will probably be helped by the fact that he hasn't exactly looked like a world beater since his debut. Pimblett looked like he was in trouble on more than one occasion when he made his first UFC walk, and in his second fight, he was caught on the feet once again. So maybe the fact that Pimblett is already known to be a limited fighter will allow him to keep some of his hype. But let's be very clear, the judge's decision was pretty atrocious. Jared Gordon should have had his hand raised in the UFC 282 co-main event. He should have walked out of the cage with at least a 29-28 decision. But even still, you could have given him all 3 rounds if you really wanted to. Pimblett was gifted the victory. There's just no other way to put it. And though it sounds like we're being very harsh on a fighter who is now 4-0 in the UFC, the stakes are different when you're a product of the UFC hype machine. Just like Darren Till, who fought under him on the main card. When the UFC go all in on promoting you and you fail to deliver, you have to expect that the fans are going to be ruthless. And in the wake of this event's end, the fans were pretty quick to turn up the heat on the Liverpool native. And it didn't help that Paddy tried to claim that he won the fight fair and square. A bad night for one of the biggest rising stars of the last few years, and a real letdown for those who were backing Jared Gordon to take the win. Now, it's not exactly the type of fight that needs a rematch or anything like that, but we wouldn't be surprised to see Dana White and his team use a lot more caution in matchmaking Paddy the Baddy moving forward. He is a fun, entertaining, and very charismatic fighter on a good night, but maybe it's time to cool down the conversation that surrounds this lightweight prospect. So if you're looking for someone to really get excited about, look no further than Ilia Topuria, who managed to submit the highly rated Bryce Mitchell on Saturday night to take home a cool $50K bonus. And that is a legit prospect right there. Paddy? Well, it seems not so much. But that is all for today, folks. If you liked the video, don't forget to help support our channel because there are very few left before we hit that 40,000 mark. And this is a whole army. So, thank you all in advance.